Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. And just a reminder that tonight we will be talking about the relatively quiet weather conditions nationwide, no major storms, and a few other things that are going on in the long range. That'll be tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show live at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. And Weather in 5 is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. They've got salt, they've got sand, and with spring getting closer and closer every day, we got mulch too. 631-756-1125 is the phone number. Nowhere can you find better prices. The website is omnitruevalue.com. So as we take a look at what's going on this afternoon in the Northeast, it is actually a pretty nice day, albeit a little chillier than yesterday. We're just going to top out into the 40s. We have some high clouds and some sunshine. You can see clouds streaming from Texas northeastward into Ohio. This is the next cold front as low pressure moves across the Great Lakes. Big standout storm is way out in the ocean, very well defined here as it moves to the east and moves away well south of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. And of course, it was no consequence to the weather in the east, other than that it actually helped to bring some drier air down the east coast. And we have a gorgeous day in the southeastern Florida with lots of sunshine there. And a little bit of action up in the northwest as far as precipitation is concerned. The radar showing some hefty rains and heavy snows in the mountains moving into Washington state. Otherwise, we have to go into the east. You can see the radar echoes indicating a cold front that is moving eastward. Not a whole lot with this front. You have to go up into Canada for uh, some precip there and some rain down in Oklahoma, and in between just some light shower activity. And I threw in the chance that there could be a couple of showers tonight from eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. Actually, the calling it a cold front in a way is a bit of a misnomer because the air behind the front isn't cold. It's actually going to turn out to be warmer after that front goes by for tomorrow and certainly setting us up for Thursday's next weather system. So this is just a brief visit back down to temperatures closer to, but still technically above average. And then we're going to be going uh, sizably above average for tomorrow and particularly for Thursday as the next weather systems move along. 7-day precip amounts generally uh, no more than a quarter of an inch. So we're not talking about a lot of rain here from Maine down southwestward into the central Appalachians. Picks up a little bit in parts of northern New England and upstate New York, half an inch or so. And then you go down from southeastern Virginia through the southeast and then across the Gulf states. It's anywhere from a half an inch to some places as much as an inch and a half. From northeast Texas into Arkansas and back into eastern Oklahoma, there's a large area of 2 to 4 inch rainfalls over the next 7 days, and also up into the Pacific Northwest. As for snow, we have a 50% or higher probability of at least 2 inches of snow for much of central and northern Maine, also back through parts of Wisconsin and into Iowa and in the upper peninsula of Michigan. And of course, out in the west, it's a bit busier up in the northwest. But even in the west, there's not a whole lot of snow going on. And take a look at the long range 7-day forecast here, 8-day forecast. This goes out to early next week. So this is Friday into Saturday, Saturday into Sunday, Sunday into Monday, Monday into Tuesday. The probability of something producing at least a few inches of snow is non existent. That's just the way things are. So some of the late day guidance from yesterday and overnight guidance is showing us we're showing a storm Saturday with maybe a little bit of potential because there's only good it would have been a minimal amount of cold air available. Well, the issue between these two systems, and I'm going to start with the GFS. The question was going to be whether we were going to get a well-developed upper level low that was going to try to move its way up the coast just offshore, and that we would get some dynamic cooling, and maybe we could wind up getting some winter precip. And here's the trough that's approaching on Saturday, and you see the bottom part of that trough gets wrapped up in a well-developed cutoff low that drops down into Georgia. Well, The other idea is that the whole thing would get squashed, and that's kind of what's happening here. We don't have a system in the northern part of the jet stream to lift it up, so it only can get so far north into the Carolinas before it gets ejected out into the northeast. All the models now are sort of on the same page with this, so unless we get some sort of indication that the system were to come further north, I think we could quickly put to bed the idea that we're going to get something on the order of winter weather this weekend. So on that note, we've got a weather front again, maybe a couple of showers tonight. Nothing that amounts to much. A nice day tomorrow with highs in the 50s everywhere. Nice up and down the East Coast. Then as this low runs up to the lakes, we're going to get some rain during the day on Thursday, probably more as you go north and less as you go south. It might not be very much from central New Jersey on south and west with this. Cold front goes by, stalls out. Friday, kind of in between, leftover clouds, the front still close. The system starts to form to the south, and you see it here. You get a low that develops off the North Carolina coast, and then eventually it tries to push moisture up the coast, but then it moves out to the east. If you don't have the upper air getting vigorous, because you don't have any real cold air, you need to have a very strong upper air feature to create cold air that works its way from the atmosphere from the top down. It doesn't. It's a process that is complicated, and it doesn't happen very often. So without that, you still could just wind up with a cold rain out of this, even if it winds up being closer. So I'm going to just go with the idea that maybe we'll have to deal with some precipitation from this for later Saturday night into early Sunday, and it could very well turn out to be dry. And there's nothing in the long range, by the way, going into next week, which takes us now beyond the middle part of February. There's nothing that indicates that the pattern is going to change anytime soon. Winter weather lovers maybe should throw in the towel at this point, because I certainly have gotten to that stage where it's not going to change. It doesn't want to change, and doesn't. You can't make it happen. Weather in 5 is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. 631-756-1125 is the phone number, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. So just a reminder again, tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show, we'll be talking about the relatively quiet conditions nationwide with no major storms, however long that lasts, and that's tonight at 7:35 Eastern Time. So we hope to see you then.